Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Happy Tuesday is how I'm going by it. But no, on a serious note, glad to be back. Thank you for tuning in. Excited to talk about the Lakers free agency signings. Off to a hot start. There'll be a lot to get to and want to react to it all. Something we're going to be in better shape than last year. We were building off a great end to the season, and we've already made a whole lot of moves that could get us in, as I said, a much higher contention. So, going to address it all and look at what the move we made and all that good stuff. We thank y'all for tuning in with us. Continue to like, rate, right? Excuse me. Continue to like, rate, review, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff for us. Appreciate all the love wherever you show it, and we'll be sure to show that love back to you as we go along with our thing. So we're on this intro one time and really jump into this thing. Thank y'all for tuning in. All right, actually, I want to start here. Let's give it up for Rob, man. Let's give it up for Rob.
Salute.
People hated for a little while. People were calling for his head and saying both the guys in this picture, both Rob and Marvin, possibly could have been on the hot seat as we were going on with last season, and they bounced back at the end of the last season, going to that trade deadline, which we saw the team turned around. To the postseason into now, as the team looks to be in great position. So before we get more into the free agency signings individually, you want to just talk about Rob and how he has turned his Lakers team around?
Sure, yeah, love to. I think Rob definitely saying put some respect on my name after the moves he's been making. I was like pleasantly surprised to see the Lakers, like one of the first signings that I got the Woj notification for was like Taurean Prince. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, so we're already making some moves now. Like Rob's letting it fly early. And I was happy to see we've had some previous tenures that had early signings that were doomsday almost, like Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng. So it was nice to see.
We just finished paying Luol Deng like this season.
Oh my god! My goodness. But it was nice to see an acquisition that could help us on the edges of this roster and bringing in some wing size, that kind of thing. So yeah, Rob definitely, like as you mentioned, since the trade deadline of this past season, I think he's garnered more respect from the fan base as he immediately made the team better with that Russell Westbrook centric trade that increased the depth for the team last year and seeking to build off of the good that we saw from last year's Western Conference Finals run. And I think he's done a really solid job in this offseason, probably one of the best of any GM for any team in this offseason so far.
I agree, and part of pointing out, Rob, was that this is one of the few times we have a LeBron on a team and he's letting the GM be the GM. Usually it's LeGM running the show and orchestrating things and getting all his boys on the squad. This time around, the GM and Rob is allowed to do his job, it appears, and he's done greatly so far. And as we see, LeBron co-signs it seems. He posted a story showing all the guys that we acquired this offseason and re-signed, going from the top. D'Angelo Russell's brought back. Austin Reeves is back. Rui is back. Vando is back. Then we also added Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, as you noted, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, and Max Christie was in the picture as he's going to have an elevated role potentially this season and going forward. So, yeah, definitely a good spot for us to be in. I like the moves that we made. I like that, as you pointed out, that we made moves that could be helpful when that clock struck for agents to be able to sign. And I'm excited to see where we go from here. Thoughts on LeBron stepping back and then letting Rob do his own thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he still had some influence. I'm sure that they consulted him a bit. I believe a couple of these guys are clutch. I know Cam Reddish is clutch. I think I think Gabe Vincent might be as well too.
Yeah.
So that always helps to get the clutch mafia guys in there. Braun's not going to have too much negative to say about that when you acquire one of those guys. But yeah, I'm happy that they've given Rob the space to make the decisions he feel best improve the talent on the roster and acquire guys that fit the needs that we have, not necessarily the desires solely that LeBron and AD have, but also like fit the positional needs that we have to make this roster better. So yeah, I'm happy about that. I don't know if LeBron's going to play it a little bit more cool this year and not drop the keep the same energy tweet like he did before
You
with
already
the
see
old guys.
he's gearing up already. He got the IG
Yeah.
post loaded and everything. So
Right.
doesn't seem to be slowing down with any of the social media things. So
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but I think LeBron should be happy. I would say with what they've done so far. And yeah, hopefully they're gearing up. I saw something another thing to mention too that Summer League started today. I saw the Lakers had a game against the Heat today, so got some of those draft picks playing as well, and so hopefully incorporate.
I saw your boy Jaime Jaquez got to work on us a little bit.
I did. I saw a highlight dunk from him.
It's Summer League, not the real thing. So and we'll get him back when it actually counts. So yeah, fine with that. But excited to see her back on the court. Summer League's rolling, as you pointed out. Definitely want to stay tuned into all of that. Excited to see what happens with Wemby and other guys we've been expecting to see in the league. And yeah, just looking forward to all that's on the way. So you did the good stuff there. Then back to our main guys here. What name surprised you the most when you first came across your ticker on this last week?
Surprised me the most. I mean, surprised me the most was probably Torian Prince because it was like the very first one that I saw, right. and it was early, and I didn't even know that he was really on the radar. I had seen like Gabe Vincent earlier, like as a potential like backup guy, but I was pleasantly surprised by Gabe as well too. Just coming off that finals run with the Heat.
Salute to Stockton's finest. Salute to UCSB's finest. Salute to Nigeria, and he's playing for the national team over there. Salute to them. Definitely a guy that has a great impact wherever he plays, and definitely his impact will be felt here. And excited to have him here, most definitely. So I had to sneak that in real quick. I knew but yeah, he did become a surprise. I didn't think that man would let him go, seeing how impactful he was. For them, there was all the talk, the whole postseason run. Oh, the Heat have the undrafted guys that never played this good, and yeah, it's like, all right, well, if they're that good, sign him back. And they didn't do that. They let him and Strus walk. So for us to grab him instead, though, as I kind of pointed out, he is somewhere from back on this side, going to school at UCSB and things. It made sense as once you step back and look at it. But from Miami, I was surprised to let him go, and glad that we were bringing him over here. So seeing with shoulder go as well, I think he slides in nicely to that position and will be a great piece, both either starting if D'Lo's not playing up to par, as we saw how that last season ended, or if he's off the bench, as he showed he did for the Heat as well. So definitely a good piece there that I was surprised to see us grabbing, and glad to have him here.
Yeah. Miami is probably gearing up for seeking to acquire Dame. Like, I think that's part of why they were able to let go Vincent and Strus. And there was rumored that like they were going to pay him, I think, half of what he got from the Lakers. Like they were going to, or maybe 3/4 of it, like $8 million or something. And we gave him $11 million a year. So
he's like, yeah, I'm going home. Nice try.
But I just seeing coming off that Miami Heat finals run, we see he was a critical part of that team, and I think he could be a good role player for this team as well. I think he would most likely be coming off the bench, but I think he could play a impactful role off the bench for Lakers.
Also glad I want to point out as well, as we talk about all these signings, glad we got Cam Reddish. He's the guy that we've low-key been clamoring for amongst deep Lakers Twitter. People have been saying, Cam Reddish is sitting there not getting any playing time for anybody. Well, we need a win. Can we go grab him? And nothing happened, and we finally got him here. He has had some challenges, of course, as I pointed out. And see my voice for a second. I went Doc Rivers for a second. My bad. But he has been on the back end of a lot of benches for a little while now. But we see what's upside can be. That's infamous video still of Anthony Edwards and Zion talking about how they were enamored about him in high school and all kinds of stuff. People see that from way back, but looking forward to now, I still think he has great potential. He's still very young, with upside, and an organization like ours who shows that we know how to bring up and really train these guys well. I think he can really blossom. So excited to see if he can get close to his potential now here with us. So glad to have him with us. Any thought on Cam?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine swing at a like reclamation project, like seeing if they can get him to bring the best like out of his game, because as you said, he was a highly touted like prospect out of high school, and he was a solid player at Duke as well, but just hasn't quite like found his consistency in a role in the league yet, and consistency like in his play on a night-to-night basis. And the Lakers have one of the better like developmental teams and as far as the two-way talents that have blossomed and flourished with the Lakers and beyond. So hopeful that he can get in the lab with this Lakers team and find a consistent role and find his way in the league. But definitely worth taking a shot. Again, he's a clutch guy too, so easy to get him over here. But yeah, it made sense at this time.
Made sense for him, and glad to have him. One that I wouldn't necessarily say didn't make sense, but we talked for an episode when we were just, or even just amongst ourselves, just about moves that we want to see Lakers make, and we talked about wanting them to add more muscle down low. I don't know if they fully did that with Jaxson Hayes. I like him because he is versatile, can jump out the gym and all that kind of stuff. But in regards to a guy that can step in when AD needs to sit down and handle the weight, literally and figuratively, being the man in the middle for us when he's out, when he's not playing. I'm not sure if Jaxson is that just yet. What do you think about us going and grabbing Jaxson Hayes immediately during this signing?
Jaxson ain't got enough junk in the trunk for you?
I didn't say all that. That's not what I said. That's all.
That's what you were implying. You said he ain't got his weight up like
that's
that.
That's not what I'm saying. that's all you, pal. You got it.
No, I had a similar thing written down in my notes. Like I said, like I love his size and athleticism, like his height and his ability to jump out the gym. And I think he's a good rim runner, like for a team like this that likes to get out in transition as well offensively. But I was like, he's still a bit of a raw talent to me. Like he is basically a rim runner. He doesn't really have much of an offensive game like on his own, and maybe that's something he can develop. But he's still raw, and I said undersized against a lot of fives, weight wise. He's a little bit out of his weight class. Yeah, I know. I was just messing with you, but I agree. I think like that's something that I would have a little bit of concern with, but I feel like he'd probably be kind of like the JaVale McGee, like playing 18, 20 minutes, like providing a spark, but ultimately, I want them to bring in another 5, and I think we'll talk about what they still need. I want them to bring another 5, but I think ultimately when it comes down to it in meaningful games, it's going to be AD sliding over to the 5. But we're going to need some guys to play down low and bump with these big men so that AD doesn't break down. So I definitely have my concerns about Jaxson Hayes and his size, but think they'll bring in another 5 at some point before the season starts.
So I see the same thing, but for now we have the roster as is, and excited for all these guys that are here. You have run it back in your tag there. I got families in town, so everybody's excited for games and all kind of stuff. Sorry, but you have run it back in your tag. Can we run it up this year and take another step beyond what we saw this last postseason?
That's tough. I briefly mentioned to you before we started recording, like, just looking at this picture and thinking about the roster and what other teams already have, and we saw what the Nuggets did last year. I do think the Lakers have gotten better with these free agent acquisitions, but I don't know that it makes them better than Denver as a squad. I know Denver did lose Bruce Brown, which is going to be huge, so potentially maybe we are, but I think Jokic still like the best player in the league, and then you have Jamal Murray with that duo has been great, and I think Michael Porter Jr. can only get better too. I think Aaron Gordon has found a perfect role in that offense and is going to be solid. So I think the Lakers are a top 3 team in the West. I guess they got in as like an 8 seed or whatever, but they were ultimately a top 2 team in the West last year. I think they're still a top 3 team. I think the Suns and Nuggets are going to be there. But I do feel like they're missing something. I don't quite know what it is. I know, like, I wasn't high on D'Lo. I'm not mad at the deal we brought him back on, though. Like, I think that was a team-friendly deal.
Right.
But I think maybe improving at the point guard position a little bit, kind of maybe that puts them over the top.
Right.
But I feel like it's missing a little bit of something to make them a championship contender.
I felt the same way, and what it is just not having the clear third. Yes, Austin can be that. D'Lo might be that. Rui might be that. But if that's the case, I don't know how that holds up against other squads as you're pointing up there. So again, it's just going to depend on. Well, it's obviously going to first start off with LeBron and AD's health and just maintaining that. And then from there, can Austin continue to step up as we saw him do last season? Can D'Lo be the guy who some folks had high hopes for early on in his career? Can Gabe continue to do what we saw, or was that just a one-hit wonder, however you want to describe it? Same thing with Rui and things. Like, are these guys going to step up as we hoped? Or are they going to, as some guys do when they come to LA, or the lights going to be too bright? And not saying it's going to be too bright for them, literally, but just saying, are they going to end up playing under their value? We saw Malik Beasley was supposed to be a high value guy here. He ended up walking because we couldn't really get anything out of him once he got here. So hopefully we won't have more of that. And hopefully on the opposite side, guys continue to step up to the plate and do what they need to do. Because if they do, it should have a grand result. So that's the thing. I think the answer is on this squad already. They just have to manifest it. So
that's a good point. I think I agree. I think that's a good point. I think if Reeves were to take another step, I think my concerns like go down a little bit. Like if he takes a step into a solidified number 3 on this team, like because I think he is capable, but like if he can go from, I think he was like a 13.5 points per game guy last year to like 18 a game, that kind of thing. Like then I think they're in a better position because right now I feel like you don't really have that consistent like number 3, like you're saying, that can give you 20 like on any given night. You just have like a lot of really solid guys. You know that these guys work well chemistry wise with LeBron and AD.
Right.
But it's just like when you go up against those top end teams in the West, like what is it going to look like? That's what I'm a little bit concerned about right now. But yeah,
I'll ask this too. We talked about all the other pieces that we added. We'll go back to our main guys, of course. Can this team have grand success with LeBron still being the lead?
I think it has to be AD. I think it has to be AD as the best player on this team. LeBron, of course, is going to be 1B, but I think less and less you're going to want the weight to be purely on his shoulders.
Right.
He did carry the brunt of it. Like even in the Denver series, even that closeout game, he had 40, 10, and 9, and was still to get the job done.
Yeah.
We need AD to be that presence that's carrying the brunt of the load. He's the younger player. He's the more impactful player on defense. And we're going to get help with some of the guys that we brought in and re-signed. But yeah, I think AD still, like, I feel like we talk about AD a lot when we talk about the Lakers, but like he truly is the X factor. He's the key to this team being a championship level team as he was in 2020. So I don't think, to answer your question, no, I don't think LeBron can be the number 1 guy at this point in his career. If it was a few years ago, yes, still, but.
Shout out Basketball Forever for this edit, and yes, it is a Photoshop, but continuing to have LeBron as the lead for this team potentially could be, I don't want to say it's downfall, that's dramatic, and that's the whole media thing, but wanting to see AD flop and be the leader of the squad definitely will be crucial for our success. Hopefully that he steps to the plate. We've seen some little glimpses he posts every once in a while, as everybody does, the little gym workouts and everything else. Hopefully he's truly in there getting and understands what needs to be done this next season in order for this team to have the grand success that we hope they will achieve. So yeah, definitely excited for that. Most of all, even beyond the grand acquisitions that we got elsewhere, and we'll be continuing to add on this offseason. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Anything else with the team you want to address real quick?
I was gonna say, just with the deals, like I guess kind of going back to Rob Pelinka, I think I was really happy with like the length of contracts and the money. Like I was thinking that based off rumors, like Reeves was going to get close to 20-25 million a year. And I was worried that they were going to have to overpay to keep him, but 4 years, 56 or whatever, like that's
great.
A steal. I feel like, honestly, for what he showed us last year in the playoffs when it mattered most too. So I thought that was great. I mean, Taurean Prince for under 5 million, D'Lo for 18 when he was making 30 last year, I think is great. So I'm really happy with how that turned out money wise, the construction, and I guess hopeful. You didn't ask. I think you had a question on there just about what the team still needed.
You kind of addressed that. That's why I skipped it. You kind of muscling it, and
I think they talked about it too, that they have 13 guys on the roster, and they're looking to sign one more, and most likely a big, like a 4 or 5, hopefully a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they plan on leaving the 15th spot open for flexibility of potentially making a move later on in the season.
Right.
So, yeah, looking at, I know they didn't re-sign Mo Bamba, but that's a potential 5 that you can bring in as a backup 5.
Sure.
Lopez is off the books now. People wanted him, would have been great. But yeah, hopefully a sturdy 5 that can potentially be the starter next to AD.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think we're in a solid spot right now.
Yeah, definitely in a good spot. Looking excited to see who that last piece that they added as well. Also, as this comment says, I almost forgot about them. Not pictured in here. Two rookies, of course. The Maxwell Lewis that we pointed out that got drafted, and how you say his name? My apologies on the other guy, JHS.
Jalen Hood.
Jalen Hood as well. Definitely those 2 great rookies that I think can apply pressure to these guys and make them want to elevate their play just in rotation. So that could be big as well, seeing if they elevate as people hope they do. So excited to see what all comes of this squad, and very, very happy for the position that we're in. So good things here. Well, another episode shortly talking about the rest of the league and the moves that are made there, and the 3 biggest moves of the offseason beyond the Lakers and things. And excited to continue to talk about it all. Thank y'all for tuning in as you do. That'll be it for right now. Again, happy Tuesday to y'all. Be safe out there. Don't put your hands too close to the fireworks and all that kind of stuff. Excited to come back and bring more entertainment to y'all as we do. So continue to like, rate, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff for us. And we out here for now, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Deuces.